If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us for this webinar today, Navigating Resources for Entrepreneurship, a session with SBDC, SLDC, SBA, and Greater St. Louis, Inc. We'll give people a minute or so to log on, then we'll start the webinar shortly. We are just giving people a few minutes, a minute to join, to log in. So if you're just joining us, welcome to this webinar, Navigating Resources for Entrepreneurship, a session with SBDC, Greater St. Louis, Inc., SBA, and Cortex. Thank you. We'll start shortly. All right, we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Anne Mbale. I am the program manager for the St. Louis Mosaic Project. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know a few people will be joining us as we continue, but to respect everybody's time, we're going to get started. Today's speakers come from amazing organization that serves entrepreneurs in the St. Louis region, and I'm very excited to host them and have them share what they have or what the organization offers to entrepreneurs that you can take advantage as the resource. Before we get into it, we'll have a short presentation and overview of what Mosaic is. So if you're not familiar with our work, so that you can learn a little bit about Mosaic. A little bit of housekeeping. All participants will be muted for the duration of the presentation. However, if you wish to ask a question, please do not hesitate. Put the questions in the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We will do the best to our abilities at the end of the formal presentations to get to those questions and have a discussion about it. The slides and a recording of this presentation will be available days after and will be sent to everybody who logged in today. Now it's my pleasure to start the program of today, and I am very grateful to be working with an amazing lady, my supervisor, Suzanne Sierra, who is going to give an overview of what Mosaic Project is all about. And I'm going to share my screen here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Suzanne Sierra. I'm the Executive Director of the St. Louis Mosaic Project, and I want to say thank you to Annie for organizing this and to our speakers who are all with organizations that support our immigrant entrepreneurs. So I want to just give you an overview of the St. Louis Mosaic Project, where we fit into the regional landscape, and what brings us to be offering you this kind of webinar today. So next slide, please. So we are part of a regional economic development organization called the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership. So we are focused on strengthening the economy in both the city and in the county, and everything that we do as part of the partnership is focused on helping businesses grow, and it's a very collaborative process. One of the initiatives of the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership is the World Trade Center of St. Louis. That is the international economic development arm. And so, with partners from around the world, they work to try to encourage businesses that want to put a foothold in the US to consider doing that in St. Louis. And when businesses start here or they relocate here and they're international, they bring their people with them. And the St. Louis Mosaic Project is the component of the World Trade Center that is focused on the people pillar of international economic development. So we were started in 2012. Next slide, Annie. We were started in 2012 because at the time, and for those of you who are from St. Louis, you may recall that in the 80s, St. Louis was a really thriving economy. We had a bustling downtown, and a lot of companies were headquartered here. And then over time, that started to change. Population began to decline. Companies started moving out, and so there was concern about what was happening to the population. And we looked at there was a study that was commissioned to look at our peer cities, about a dozen cities that are similar in size to St. Louis, to see what was fueling their economy that St. Louis was missing. And it was immigration. So for a city, a metropolitan area the size of St. Louis, we really should have much higher immigration, which would lead to more growth. And at the present, we have about 5% foreign born. And so the St. Louis Mosaic Project was designed as the entity to focus specifically on creating a welcoming environment, working across sectors and with many, many partners to create a welcoming foundation so that international individuals who come here find the resources they need to succeed and to thrive and to put roots down. Annie, I think we need to be on slide 4. Um, so
Yes, I
there we go. Okay, wonderful. Um, so immigration and demographics, obviously, they go up and down according to so many different factors that are beyond the control of the St. Louis Mosaic Project. But you can see here the chart of immigration for St. Louis over the last several years. And in 23, I'm sorry, when we started, we set a goal to say that we wanted to transform St. Louis into the fastest growing major metro for immigration by the year 2025. And in 2023, so you can see the peak there at 160,000 foreign born in St. Louis, we had accomplished that goal. At that point, according to the census, we were the number one major metropolitan area for fastest growing foreign born among the top 30. So that was a wonderful milestone that we hit. It wasn't a victory for Mosaic per se, but it demonstrated that with the collaboration of so many businesses and civic organizations and the broader population being welcoming, that immigrants were finding St. Louis, to be a wonderful place to move to. So that has continued to change with the demographics now showing that we, as a region, are continuing to lose population. We are in what is called a demographic winter, which means we have an aging population that is not just limited to St. Louis. This is what cities around the country are experiencing. But our new goal is that we try to get back to being a top destination for immigrant growth through the year 2030. And so the way that we work, next slide, is that we focus our work on these 4 core pillars. The first one is to really lean into what we call global talent. We have thousands of work authorized, internationally trained individuals here who we try to connect to meaningful careers so that they, again, can put roots down and find that they want to stay and build a career and a life in St. Louis. Building community comes with that. We know that people might move here for a job or they might stay after graduating, but when they find a community, that's when they find belonging and that's when they want to stay. And that's the whole retention of the international population. driving the narrative and advancing the fact that there are many positive contributions that immigrants make, and highlighting that economic impact is something that we do on a regular basis. And our fourth pillar, and that's what brings us here today, is to support our foreign-born entrepreneurs. And so you're going to hear throughout the webinar the ways that our partner organizations are doing that. So when you think about somebody who is new to this country and all they want to do is succeed. They have a business, but they may not know where to go if they want to open a brick and mortar store, or they want mentorship, or how do I put a marketing plan together? We are very, very fortunate to have the folks that you'll hear from today to be offering that kind of support. And so with that, I will turn it over. We do our work very, as I said, very collaboratively. Everything that we do is at no cost to the population. We are, again, conveners and connectors. And so we want to be the one-stop resource for any international individual who arrives here, however they arrived here. And then we want to help them connect to the resources that can help them really thrive. So with that, I will turn it over to the panelists. And thank you again for joining. I hope you find the information valuable.
Thank you so much, Susan. And I apologize, my internet just texted me that, the slide was not showing in presenting mode at the beginning, so apologies about that. And now I'll turn it over to Cortex, Ben Morina, who is going to share about what Cortex offers.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Annie. Hello, everybody. Ben Molina with Cortex. First, I want to thank Annie and Suzanne from the St. Louis Mosaic Project for hosting this webinar. Really excited to be able to highlight one of the amazing resources that are available for entrepreneurs. So to kick things off, I'll talk a little bit about Cortex and our work. Our mission at Cortex is accelerating inclusive economic growth in the region. And so a little bit about Cortex. We are both a physical 200-acre innovation district in the Central West End, as well as a nonprofit organization who has been charged with creating this innovation district. And really what we do is we're creating a space to weave people together, places, organization. It's one of the few places in St. Louis where you can talk with a scientist doing amazing Alzheimer's or cancer research, as well as a nonprofit doing a civic work for the community. So how we do that at Cortex is two ways, two priorities. We try to grow quality jobs by attracting talent to the region, that is businesses. We want to bring in companies to the St. Louis region to grow those jobs, as well as prepare a diversity of talent, which means train folks. We not just want to attract businesses, but we want to grow local talent in the region. And that's really where my job comes in, and the entrepreneurship support that we have for entrepreneurs. Our programs at Cortex are called Cortex's Square One, and we train entrepreneurs at the very early stages of their business journey. And so we've really focused on two core programs that I will highlight today, Square One Ignite and Square One Bootcamp. Square One Ignite is really our starting point for entrepreneurs. This is a 4-week program for people who are considering starting a business. They have a business idea that they're not quite sure, is it going to work? Is there a market for it? And so what we do during this 4-week program is we help you test out your business idea to validate it before you launch it. And the goal is that after a 4-week program, you have the confidence, you have the knowledge to either move forward with your business. Maybe you've learned something new and you need to pivot before you launch, or you decide to pause with your business idea. Square One Ignite is provided twice a year in the springtime and in the summer. And it has a cost of $50, but we have scholarships available for entrepreneurs. Square One Ignite is a really good starting point for our then second program called Square One Bootcamp. Square One Bootcamp is a 10-week program where we focus on how to run the business. So over the course of the 10 weeks, we meet twice a week. We focus on teaching you business fundamentals as our first part, anywhere from marketing, accounting, um, budgets, financial projections, as well as pairing that with mentorship. And so we have four mentors that will work with our entrepreneurs in the following industries. So for food entrepreneurs, service-based businesses, consumer product businesses, and or IT businesses. And so they really work with the entrepreneurs to help them understand what do I need to know specific to my industry and how do I help grow my business. Right now, we are recruiting for Square One Bootcamp, so applications are open. Right now, we will start on September 14th and wrap up by November 17th. So if you are a food-based business, service-based business, IT, or consumer product-based business, please consider applying for Square One Bootcamp. Cortex, outside of our entrepreneurship programs, we also work with many of the businesses and organizations within our district to provide programming for the community, anywhere from networking opportunities like our free coffees or our food trucks to learning opportunities with Filament, where they're teaching new ways to engage or lead meetings. These are free and open to the community, so please, we would love to see more folks from the community attending some of these events. So again, this is Cortex, where we're focusing on accelerating inclusive economic growth, and I'll hand it all over to Annie.
Thank you so much. And I know people are starting to put questions, but we'll get to the questions towards the end of the presentation because we want to give a chance to every presenter to present what their organization offers. So we'll have a Q&A towards the end. And at this point, I will have Isaiah present.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me? Am I coming across well? Amazing. My name is Isaiah Santiago. I work at Greater St. Louis Inc. So what Greater St. Louis Inc. is it is, as Suzanne really put it so well, is that, we need companies and entities to expand and move to the St. Louis region. And so that is what Greater St. Louis Inc. does. We are a economic development entity that works in 15 counties. So some in Illinois, some in Missouri. But what we help do is connect these companies that are looking to move to St. Louis with resources, the community, and opportunities that they feel will help their business grow and excel in St. Louis. And so that looks like companies that are maybe based in California or New York that are looking to expand with a manufacturing hub, or that might be a company in London or Germany or even South Korea that is looking to expand to the United States and create a new exciting workforce or new exciting plant or manufacturing hub. And we help connect them with great players like the Mosaic Project, like St. Louis Partnership, like Cortex, and really help them understand the value and the players and community that exists in St. Louis. But what I specifically do is I handle a lot of our small business growth and procurement growth in the region. So what we like to say at Greater St. Louis Inc. is that while it's great that we, attract large businesses to come to the region, a lot of those larger businesses want to know what the small business ecosystem looks like here in the region, and that is where I come in. So I lead a lot of our small business initiatives, which I'll go deeper into, but just to kind of give you guys a perspective, when a large company comes to the region, they're not just looking for the next new site or the next new warehouse to fill. They're also looking to understand, what does the demographics look like? What are the economic corridors and small business main streets that exist in the region? What does that look like? Where can their employees go to come to the region and understand how we can basically help them connect with the community and small businesses where their employees will more than likely frequent when they move here, when they live here, and hopefully create a family here. And so that is where I come in. So on the small business growth team, we have around three or four main kind of buckets we work within. The first is our one-on-one consultations. So what I do is we at Greater St. Louis Inc. have a survey intake process where we send it out to small businesses and our partners and have them input some of their information. What are you looking to grow into? What kind of business do you have? And what are those goals and barriers that you're facing that we maybe can lean in and help you connect and help you overcome those barriers and help you reach those goals you're looking to meet. And so in those one-on-one consultations, you and I sit down and we go through those barriers and goals. And then from that feedback we go back and forth on, I help you connect with some of the players that are in this panel, but other ones in the region. So we work really closely with Cortex and Ben and his team, as well as Christian at SBA and Vivial, who you hear from soon, at the SLDC, St. Louis Development Corporation, the Northside Economic Empowerment Center. We lean on our partners to help connect them to entrepreneurs and small businesses and really create a funnel of opportunity for them, but also create really good matchmaking and support for the small businesses that are looking to grow in our region. That also looks like getting you in touch with larger corporations that are looking to potentially, excuse me, we have a motion sensor here at work in this office, so apologies. But we help you connect with large corporations that are potentially looking to do partnerships, looking to potentially procure some of your product or services, and really lean on our partners that we have in the region to help you grow and thrive in St. Louis and beyond. We also run an accelerator program similar to Cortex's, but on a larger scale. We help businesses that are looking to scale up in the region, whether that means open a new location, as Suzanne said, get into a brick and mortar space, open a food truck or expand their food truck operations, maybe 2 or 3 locations, or to partner with other large corporations in a more structured way. That is where our supplier readiness accelerator comes in. It's a 12-week cohort, and it's once a week. And basically, we bring in facilitators and panelists to talk about marketing, AI usage. How do you do an RFP process? How do you write an MOU? How do you do a profits and loss analysis for your business? And so, again, that is geared towards businesses that are looking to scale in the region and thrive and soar and really create more jobs and more tax base for our region that really helps those economic corridors thrive. The other one is networking and matchmaking. So here at Greater St. Louis Inc., we have a lot of workshops, a lot of ways you can plug in and learn the skills and learn the players in the region, what they're doing in a more intimate setting. And so that looks like getting you in touch with the folks at the St. Louis Partnership that gets you in touch with potentially the main streets in Washington, Missouri, in downtown, Laclede's Landing, in Dutchtown. We have a great Main Street program. And so connect you with those leaders and help you understand what those economic corridors look like so you can potentially identify if you want to move into a brick and mortar space in those corridors and in main streets. And then with matchmaking, that's getting you in touch with those mentors, getting you in touch with people at SLDC so you understand the resources they have that might be more fine-tuned to what you're looking for in your small business journey. And so again, we like to be a convener, a networker, and a matchmaker for you and your success in the region of St. Louis. Lastly is our supplier STL partner meeting. Those are meetings where we get a lot of players together in a room quarterly, and we talk about what Greater St. Louis Inc. is doing, not only on the large macro economic development side of things, so bringing company to the region, helping identify toolkits or action plans or toolkits that are mainly geared towards small businesses, and showcasing and leaning on our partners that we have in the room and kind of show in the ways we're partnering with them. But also, it's a chance for you to network and meet some of the folks that are really leaned into the work that we do, and that hopefully and potentially get you in front of new opportunities where you can scale. And just kind of zooming out, all these options and opportunities are geared towards the St. Louis region. So if you're a new individual in the region, starting a business, an entrepreneurship, an immigrant from another country, or you've been here for a while and you're looking to scale up your business, we can really help do that and connect you to the players and work with you in a more intimate setting to really maximize your opportunities and maximize your reach in our region. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity to, share what we do. And this is a great panel. I'm excited for you to hear from the next speaker. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Isa, and I agree. You guys are a great panel, and I'm very excited to have this. And next we have Christian Johnson from SBA, who is going to share the resources that are available that you guys can take advantage of. Thank you.
Awesome. Can you see my screen, Andy?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Hey, yeah, thanks for having me, Annie.
I don't know if it's just me, it's not in presenter mode, but it could just be me.
Christian,
let's
if you
start.
look at the bottom of your screen, you see the little icon that looks like a,
Pencil?
no, it looks like a screen right at the very bottom right of your, there you go.
There you go.
Oh, it wasn't. Is it presenting now?
You had it for a second, and there you go.
Good?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right, thanks everybody. My name is Chris Jansen. I'm with the U.S. Small Business Administration. I'm the district director for the St. Louis district. So my area of ownership is basically Eastern Missouri. So the 64 easternmost counties of Missouri. Our office, we're housed in the Federal Building downtown on Spruce Street. We're on the 10th floor. So always welcome to, come see us if you have questions. I do recommend giving us a phone call ahead of time. Make sure we'll be there. There's only 2 of us right now in the office. So before you go through the security and the parking and all of that, please give us a call and make sure we're there, and we can schedule an appointment. So our mission at the SBA is to maintain and strengthen the U.S. economy by helping new and existing small businesses, right, through aid, counseling, and assisting in protection of the interests of small businesses, and finally to help businesses and families recover from natural disasters. And I'll touch on how we accomplish this mission through the different points throughout this presentation. So really the 4 arms that I like to think about it of the SBA, this is kind of like the 50,000 foot view. So the first is capital, access to capital via SBA-backed small business loans. The next is government contracting. The government is the largest buyer or seller of goods in the United States. So at the SBA, we specifically help businesses get certified as a various number of different small business entities, which helps in your government contracting journey. Next, we have business counseling. So we have 4 or 5 different official resource partners, the SBDCs, Apex Accelerators, SCORE, the Veteran Business Centers, and the Women's Business Centers. I'll talk about those in a little bit. But those are all official resource partners that help you as entrepreneurs at any point in your entrepreneurial journey, creating a business plan, cash flow projections, really anything you could need as an entrepreneur. It's a free resource that's available. And we partner very closely with them. And then the final is disaster assistance. So after there's a federally declared disaster and after FEMA comes through, the SBA comes in and sets up shop and offers low interest disaster loans to homeowners and business owners. And I'll touch on that in a few slides. Quickly wanted to talk on capital, right? Access to capital is the first arm that I mentioned, and it's probably right now one of the biggest. So the SBA can help you access funding through a number of different lending programs that we have, anywhere from $500 to 5.5 million. SBA-backed loans can be used for most business purposes, including fixed assets and operating capital. One thing that's important to note is that the SBA is not issuing you the loan to you, the borrower. You're still going to go through your local bank and you'd request to take out an SBA loan. Really, there's two different types of loans, which I'll touch on in a second, the 7A and the 504. So the bank, you still go through the bank does the initial underwriting, and then submits it to the SBA for a guarantee. And really how I like to think about this is it's the US government, co-signing the loan with you. What they're doing is they are guaranteeing a percentage of the loan for that bank, which helps you as the borrower get approved for the loan, and helps the bank, reduces their risk, which gives you a better rate. So an example of this is if you took out $1 million loan that was 75% guaranteed, what that means is that the bank's risk on that loan is only $250,000, which significantly reduces that risk on the bank, which helps you as the borrower, get approved for the loan with lower collateral, and then additionally gets you a better interest rate in return. The two main loan products we have are the 7A and the 504. The 7A it's kind of like we call it our Swiss Army knife loan. It can be used for working capital and inventory. There's lines of credit available. It's very, very flexible. And then the 504 loan is specifically for fixed assets in real estate. What's important about that loan is you'll partner with a local CDC, and that's also a fixed rate long-term loan. As you see here on the slide, this is the SBA lender match. So if you don't have, if your bank doesn't do SBA lending, or you want to use a bank who specializes in SBA lending, you can go to this website and find local lenders in your area who carry SBA loans. The next arm we're talking about is government contracting, right? So in fiscal year 24, $755 billion was spent on prime contracts. As a goal, the federal government has 23% of all contract dollars set aside for small businesses. And where we help as the SBA is we help you become certified, right? If you qualify for any of those businesses in the main programs, we would walk you through the process, and we can help you become certified. So if you're a women and owned a business, we can help you become an official, women-owned certified business. Same thing with veteran-owned business and service-disabled veteran businesses. All of those are different criteria which help. There's certain set-asides in government contracting for percentages of them, which basically gives you an advantage in your government contracting. So here's kind of a breakdown. So of that 755 billion, 183 billion went to small businesses. There's a set aside for 5% for small disadvantaged businesses, and you can see the breakdown here. But if you take percentages of that 755 billion, there's a lot of government contracting dollars out there available for businesses who are eligible. The next one I'm going to talk about is business counseling, right? So as I mentioned before, we have free resources through our resource partners. It's all free, and they can help you do any of those items on the list you see here. But really, anything in your entrepreneurial journey that they can help, they can help you with, and it's a free resource, right? So if you need to take out a business loan, but the bank says you need some work on your packet, you need a business plan or cash flow projections, you can go work with the SBDC or the Women's Business Center or any of the resource partners, and they can help you create those plans. So when you walk into the bank, you have all your ducks in a row. This is just a list, and everything is on our SBA website. So the SBDCs, there's 16 throughout the state of Missouri. They're located all around. There's one in St. Louis, Hannibal, Columbia, Cape Girardeau. There's 2 women's business centers. There's one here in St. Louis, and there's one in Columbia. One veteran business resource, VetBiz, one VBOC for the state. And then Apex Accelerators is tied with the SBDC, but they're specifically for the government contracting part. So they will be the ones who will hold your hand and help you get those certifications, and also teach you how to do your government contracting. So I know that's a lot of information, but everything is on the SBA website. If you go to sba.gov/local assistance, you can filter by by state and by area. So you go to Missouri or St. Louis region, and you'll be able to pull up all the SBDCs in the area and their contacts. The Women's Business Center, the Veterans Business Center. I didn't mention SCORE. SCORE is like a mentorship program. It's retired executives and small business owners who, in their retirement and free time, give back to aspiring entrepreneurs. So that's a mentorship program. If you want someone who's walk the walk and can help you through it, SCORE is another fantastic resource, and everything can be found on the SBA website. Finally, disasters. I touched on this briefly at the beginning, but this is the only time the SBA is going to lend you as a business owner or a homeowner money directly. So if there's a federally declared disaster and your business was impacted either with physical damage or loss of revenue, you can qualify for a low interest loan. I think right now they're around 3.6%, so much lower than anything you're going to get from a bank or conventional. But those economic injury disaster loans are super super valuable when disaster does strike. Finally, we have a red tape hotline. This is through our Office of Advocacy. So if you as a small business owner, if you find that there's any federal regulations that are burdensome or costing you a lot of money, or you don't really understand why we're doing them, the administration is really trying to cut red tape and cut regulations. So this is a way you can go and provide feedback, and it's being actively monitored, and we have a regional advocate who monitors it and collects all the data, and then is basically the advocate for small businesses in Washington, D.C. Two contacts on here. Gwen is our lending specialist here in St. Louis. So if you have questions on SBA loans or anything SBA lending related, she'd be a great contact. And then government contracting. Igor is housed in Kansas City, but he covers the whole state. So he can help anything government contracting related. And then again, I'm Chris Jansen. I'm the district director. So you can also feel free to reach out to me, and I can direct you to any of those resources that we had previously talked.
Thank you so much, Christian. And our last presenter for today is Vivio from SLDC, who is not going to use PowerPoint, but she has some slides that I will share as she's presenting. You have the floor.
All right. Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me? Okay, my computer is in low bandwidth. You're having some issues here.
Is it just me or is everybody else?
Can you not hear me?
Yeah. Now I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you
I don't know if it's my internet,
I
but
think we're having technical difficulties.
yeah.
Vivio came on saying that she was having low bandwidth issues.
Can you try to turn off your video? Maybe that will help. Let's see. Okay, she's still frozen, right? Is it not just me? Are you there, Vivio? Okay, I just want to make sure that it's not just me. But can't hear her. Anybody else?
It's not just you. It
Okay.
dropped.
Okay. All right. While we wait for her to log on, I know there were like a few questions, but I am not sure that everyone can be able to see the answer. So I'll just read them out loud while we wait for Vivio to get back to us. Somebody asked if it's possible. Oh no, that was for me. As per slide 5, let's say startup needs to hire freelancer for sales and marketing, for example, or developers, for example. Does Mosaic help help the founders. And Suzanne responded to that. She said, we will share the freelance opportunity with our network and send to individuals who are seeking that kind of work. We'll be happy to discuss this in more details, just in case somebody had a similar question. That's why I'm reading that, and we can help you with that. Yes, there'll be a recording. Somebody asked if there'll be a recording. Yes, there'll be a recording for this that we'll send, and the presentations as well, we'll send to those that attended the webinar, maybe Friday or Monday next week. And there's two more open questions. Just one more. Please feel free to put the questions in the Q&A, and we will get to them as soon as we can. I think this is maybe for Ben or Isaiah. The bootcamp program, are they virtual or in person? Somebody asked that.
Yeah, Square One Bootcamp and Square One Ignite are both in person. Square One Bootcamp, we meet on Mondays and Tuesday evenings from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m.
Ben, can you talk a little bit? Sorry, just as we're filling time here, I'm not sure if Vivia will be able to join us again, but can you talk a little bit about like the format of the session and how many people participate and just kind of give the folks an idea of what, they can expect?
Yeah, absolutely. So Square One Bootcamp, we meet Mondays and Tuesday evenings. Monday night is really our night when we're focusing on business fundamentals. And so we invite experts to come out and speak on a number of issues. I think we cover 18 to 20 different issues every evening. Um, and then we also work a lot on pitching your business. So I get up on stage and I help you practice how to talk about your business. And by the end of the 10 weeks, you really get comfortable with being on stage and talking about what you do. And then Tuesday evenings, that's our mentorship night. So as I mentioned, we have 4 industries that we serve. So then we break out into smaller groups. Um, and you're meeting one-on-one with your mentor as a group to really understand what does my industry need. Um, because on Monday nights, we're kind of talking at a high level, something that will cover all industries. But we know that food businesses have their own needs, service-based businesses and IT businesses have their own needs. And so these mentors really hone down on your specific industry. So we typically have around 35 folks in the cohort, about 8 per industry. So we are limited by the type of businesses that we're able to serve, again, because we want to create a good environment where we're not overwhelming both you and the instructors. But you also get to meet with folks from a number of other industries. And so the networking piece and the environment, just being around other entrepreneurs, is a really huge add-on to the programming that we provide and something that I think the entrepreneurs really value.
Thank you, Ben. That was helpful.
Yeah, that was very helpful. And Vivia just emailed that she is still having technical difficulties. So what I'm doing right now is to put the 2 links that she sent me earlier to share with you guys so that you have them. And I also email these links when I email the follow-up when I send the follow-up email to you as well. But I'm putting those 2 links here to everyone so that you have access to them. One of them is for Northside Economic Empowerment Center. She just texts, sorry, having internet issues still. Trying to speak with my camera off. So she's gonna try to speak with her camera off. While she does that, you ready? Are you ready, Vivian?
Yes, I'm ready. Can you all
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you
I
clearly.
I apologize to everybody for that. Just want to share, and I'll be brief, that I am with the Northside Economic Empowerment Center, which is part of the St. Louis Development Corporation. And we serve as the economic development arm to the city. And specifically, what we do here at the Northside Economic Empowerment Center is we work with small business owners, and we work with individuals that just have an idea, who are ready to sustain their business and also ready to grow. Within the larger organization with SLDC, we can also work with businesses to help them select sites if they are ready to start their business and they are ready for a brick and mortar, we can help them with that selection as well. And so I want you to think about us. We can kind of help with the beginning all the way to, wherever you want to grow to. Some of the things that we offer specifically here in the center to support our business owners is we offer a number of different workshops and opportunities. And so we have things that will be foundational for your business. So helping you in the very beginning to get the business registered properly, to make sure that you have your business license. We also focus on a lot of research and making sure that we are educating our business owners on how things operate in business. We know that a lot of people are really, really great at their gift and their craft to do their business, to do the work of their business, but most people are not prepared or educated on how to actually run a business. And so we work on a lot of those things too. We do a lot of research and help individuals to be able to identify their target audience, looking for their competitors, making sure that we have correct price points and those type of things. When we look at the foundational piece, another thing is how do you operate in your business? So we do a lot of things around finances, making sure that our business owners know about those main 3 financial documents that every business owner should be aware of, which is around their cash flow, around profit and loss, and then also making those projections, which is going to be important if you are looking for any type of funding. We also have supportive things like QuickBooks to help you with the accounting piece. We don't necessarily push QuickBooks, but that was something that was requested from our business owners. And so we created a class around that to help business owners understand how to do that accounting piece. We also connect with a lot of partners in the community around funding. And so we can connect you to financial resources, whether it's through a grant program or if it is through a loan program. And then we also want to make sure that you are loan ready. So we partner with a lot of financial institutions here in our area, and we give you all an opportunity to engage with them and build those relationships with people in the financial industry that you may not otherwise be able to connect with on a personal level. That also will help us to make sure that you are loan ready. And so helping you to understand what those criteria are, and then helping you to get everything together, your packaging and, all of your financials and things like that, so that you can apply for those loans. I do want to just share a couple of things that we have coming up here really soon. Tonight, we actually have a business owner basic course, and that is going to be that foundational course and to tell you everything that you need to know to start a business. And then we are going to also have some marketing classes this month in August. We have some things around succession planning as well. Our business owners work really hard to build their business, but we're not thinking about how do we end this business when we're ready to retire? Do we want to pass it on? Do we want to sell it? And those type of things. So really helping business owners also think about their end game is really important. And in the month of October, I just want to throw in a little plug of what's to come. We will have some sessions for taxes and how to, fill out Schedule Cs and what type of things are going to be deductible for you as a business owner. And this is something new that we're doing because we did find that a lot of our business owners either did not have their taxes done or they were done improperly. And so we want to, again, answer some of those problems, be the solution to some of those problems that we may see our business owners are experiencing. And so that will be in the month of October. We will have something on taxes as well as some other offerings that will help you in the financial space. So Annie, thank you so much. She will put my information in the chat. And if anybody is interested in learning more, getting connected, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to support you. My role specifically is to one-on-one work with our business owners and to help them grow. So thank you for your time and your grace.
Thank you so much, Vivio. And I did put the 2 links that you shared with me in the chat. So if anybody's having a hard time accessing them, let me know. But I will also make sure that I send that when I send the follow-up email as well. We have a question for Christian. Does SBA help with SAM registration?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Specifically, we would refer you to the Apex accelerators who, yes, they have people who not only can help you with your SAM's registration and your capability statement, but they can also walk you through your first time bidding on a government contract. Like they'll bring in people who've done it and they're able to kind of walk you through that process and get you squared away. And if you go to that website and for local assistance and look for Apex Accelerators. Her name's Gina in St. Louis. She's fantastic. And if you can't find the resource there, shoot me an email and I can make an introduction.
Awesome. And another question that I wrote down here, maybe for everyone, is there like a restriction on who can access your services? Like, like, is it just for citizens or is it permanent residents can attend? Because we also have like international students that are, pursuing the entrepreneurship route. Like, what are the requirements? If you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for the SBA, to take out an SBA backed loan, you do need to be a U.S. citizen. That was a change that came into effect this past March. But there's no restrictions on using the resource partners as far as like business coaching, business development, stuff like that. It's just specifically SBA backed guaranteed loans.
Yeah, and that also applies for naturalized citizens, right?
Right.
Okay.
I'll jump in just to kind of give a macro look at to answer that question. As Christian did say, there has been some changes to some requirements. So when it comes to financial tools, especially with like loans and capital, that might be a little bit of a more case by case. Some yeses, some nos. But in terms of the services that, especially Greater St. Louis Inc. Small Business Growth Team offers, we do not look at that necessarily, especially when it comes to connecting you to resources and partners in the ecosystem. We're here to help all individuals in the region. So for our side, no.
I will hop on. We primarily serve adults living in the St. Louis region. So, regardless where you live, as long as you can get to our classes, um, you're welcome to participate. Many of the entrepreneurs that we have served in the past are new Americans. So we love when immigrants, as an immigrant myself, moving to the region and wanting to contribute, need help and support in starting a business, please feel free to access our services.
And I'll just say, I know we presented a lot of information to you, and it might be like, who do I go to? So we can be the one to figure that out, help you figure out who's the best person. It may be everyone on here, but that's kind of the role we play is to just help, especially folks that are new and just are overwhelmed with the choices. But we want you to know that there's so much support here, as you can see, and we can help steer you to the right people.
Exactly. All right. Any plugin that you have events before we close out? Oh, there's another question from Marinola Soranke says, must one live in St. Louis to get help and resources that you offer?
I will jump in. So for Greater St. Louis Inc., as I kind of said at the beginning, we service several counties on the Illinois side and the Missouri side. I like to say from Washington, Missouri to Belleville, Illinois, to Alton, Illinois, to DeSoto, Missouri. We're regional. So no, you do not have to live in the St. Louis city. You can live in St. Louis County. You can live in Washington, Missouri. I will say with some of the resources that you'll see and be connected with, some are more centralized around St. Louis City and County. So that might mean, as Ben kind of said, you got to drive into the city to kind of attend some courses or attend classes. But overall, no, we're pretty we're regional here, and we'll be also help. We will help you connect if you're just say, for example, in Kansas City. We have partners over there that we can connect you with to kind of retrofit those resources that are better fitted to the Kansas City area. Also, same situation if you're in Springfield, Illinois. So,
Yeah, SBA is nationwide. I cover all of Eastern Missouri, but if you live in Illinois or Western, I can direct you to those, the SBA resources out there. Like I mentioned, the SBDC has like 16 locations throughout the state, but they're nationwide as well. All the resource partners are partially federally funded, so they're nationwide as well.
And we work with business owners in St. Louis County as well as St. Louis City. So we can service businesses anywhere in St. Louis, and we can also work with businesses that are in Illinois. The only thing that may be something different is when it comes to like city dollars for funding, that then you may need to be local for that. But in order to come and engage with any of our classes, our workshops, networking events, that is completely open to the public. So I encourage you all to definitely come out and network and build community with other small business owners.
Okay, we do not have any more questions. I'll give a minute to you, panelists, if you have anything you would like to announce from your organization before we close up.
I'll just add one thing. Suzanne really touched on it. We in the St. Louis City and County, our population, we need to increase our population, not just in the region, but also in St. Louis City and County. And we've seen the growth come from a lot of our immigrant community. So the resource we want to provide is agnostic regarding of your status, or if you're immigrant or you're local, but we do, want you to stay here and thrive. So please reach out to us. Utilize Annie and Suzanne, as Christian, Ben, and Vival, and myself. We're all willing to assist and lean in here.
I agree. And, St. Louis, one thing I love is that, if we can't have the answers, we'll find you the answers, because we are working together collaboratively as a region to make sure that everybody succeeds. On that note, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Ben, to Isaiah, to Christian, and Vivio for taking your time and to present. I was looking forward to this presentation, and I think, you guys had a lot of information, a lot of great information that, even myself, I benefited from. To all the attendees, I will send the recording sometime, maybe tomorrow or next week, Monday, and keep an eye out to the next webinar. We don't know when it's going to be, but we'll make sure that we send that information to you so that you can have the resources that you need. And I'll be sending a feedback form. If you have any topic that you'd like us to cover, even bringing back the same presenters to cover specific topics, please let me know, let Suzanne or myself know, so that we know that we're offering the right resources to you. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Have a great day, everybody.